Welcome to yet another Bippy is on a cigarette break and talking about crazy bitches video. And I wanted to talk today about, oh gosh, it's really windy. I hope it doesn't pick up too bad on the mic. I wanted to talk about suicide and suicide attempts. So, sometimes people will threaten suicide as a manipulation attempt, and sometimes they're serious about it. So here's what you do either way. Call 911, get them placed on a 72-hour psych hold. You are not a clinically trained suicide prevention therapist. So if somebody is legitimately suicidal, that's who they need to help them. And if you are a clinically trained suicide prevention specialist, then you should damn well know that you do not treat your own family or anybody that you're close to. So you're not the person to deal with this shit. This is not something that friends and family helps with. You need fucking professional help if somebody is threatening to kill themselves. If it's a manipulation attempt, being placed on a 72-hour psych hold will usually stop them from ever doing that again as a manipulation attempt. Now so either way, this is what you do if somebody calls and they say they're suicidal. Now, sometimes, people with personality disorders, manipulative people, they tend to be super fucked up. So I want to make sure that something is really, really clear. If you do have somebody who is suicidal and threatens suicide if they don't get their way and then they kill themselves, for the Just No Mail crowd, I'm thinking about poor Hedgehogs Don't Share and her batshit insane mother-in-law who killed herself, and she found her because they weren't allowing her to have access to the kid. So here's the thing. If you look at the brain of someone who dies in an accident versus the brain of someone who commits suicide, they're structurally different. There are way more dendrites in the brain of somebody who's committed suicide. There are structural differences, and those things either take years to show up or they're just already there. You did not do anything to make your abuser commit suicide. If somebody is suicidally inclined, there are structural differences between their brain and a normal brain. And, we don't have a lot of babies that commit suicide, so we don't know if some of those structural differences are there at birth. But brain tissue takes a while to change. That's why learning isn't instantaneous. So if you have somebody with these severe structural differences in their brains, and there's also differences in how they uptake and regulate certain neurotransmitters. So there's structural and chemical differences in the brains of someone who commits suicide. You did not do this. It is not possible for you to do this. Basically, as far as I can tell from the neurobiology on this, if somebody is predisposed to this, there can be a triggering event where they're just like, this is the thing, but it was going to happen. It's sort of like if you have a heart defect. You could be out for a jog and that triggers the heart defect and you're gone. You could be having sex. You could have heartburn and be eating a pizza. It's going to happen. Or it's really, really likely to happen. These things can get worse with age. Not so much the structural differences, but the neurotransmitter differences. So if you've got somebody who's slightly crazy and manipulative, and they've been threatening suicide for years and never really followed through anything, it was just a ploy for attention, and then they actually follow through with it, odds are there was some sort of neurotransmitter issue that got worse with age that contributed to this. So even if you dumped the guy, you did not make him commit suicide. Even if you took their grandchildren out of their life, you did not make them commit suicide. People with healthy brains don't commit suicide, and you cannot change somebody's brain from a healthy brain to an unhealthy brain. Now, without hitting them in the head a bunch of times with a cricket bat or something. It takes severe trauma to I was in a car accident. I was stopped at a red light. Dude hit me at 75 miles an hour or more. It was 75 to 85. He was speeding on a highway that happens to have some red lights on it. And I had a traumatic brain injury, and it changed my personality for a while. I had all sorts of issues, but that was a serious car accident where I could have been killed. And 8 months later, I'm pretty much back to normal as far as personality and everything else goes. So, you know, if, like I said, either way, and some people will like threaten suicide if their kids don't do the dishes. That is shitty. That is super manipulative. That is emotionally abusive. That is like, that's not normal parenting. Don't my nails look great? So if you have that going on and you're in that sort of situation, you didn't do anything wrong. And the only thing to do is to get that person professional help. And if it's a manipulation ploy, they'll knock it the fuck off, because 72-hour holds aren't fun. And if it's serious, then they'll get the help that they need, which cannot come from a family member or a close friend. It can't. You have to have professional distance in order to be able to help these people. So, and a shitload of training, like master's degree minimum, like fucking, you can't pick this up off of Google in an afternoon to help somebody who has suicidal ideation. So I hope that's helpful for somebody, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.